Dereck Chisora versus Ondrej Parla post-fight review with myself, Ingram Jones, and my wife,
Atia.
Okay, so as we said, we would bring Atia back, and Atia's back. So let's talk about the fight. I predicted that Dereck Chisora would stop Ondrej Parla with inside 6 rounds. He stopped him inside the 3rd round. I mentioned about Dereck Chisora. My concerns are this, and I mentioned them before. Dereck Chisora, when he comes in, he seems to get hit a lot with the right hand. Very open to punches. And I also mentioned Dereck Chisora, he needs to be careful in this fight. And as you saw from the very first round, he got clocked with a hard left hook. Real hard. Atia?
Well, I probably will talk about the fight from a different perspective because I've met Dereck Chisora. We had dinner together. Him and his partner was in
Nando's. Nando's in Finchley.
Right, and we had some wonderful food. And we were sitting on the top big table, and there's some people next to us eyeballing us and giving us the ugly eye because we had the best table in the house, and because we were who we are, they had a problem with us being in the best place. And so they kept giving us the ugly eye. And then what happened is when Dereck Chisora walked in, and his partner walked in, but he walked in first. He looked immediately over at the table at us and smiled. And he happened to know the people at the next table. And, he waved at them. But he ended up coming and sitting and eating with us. And so...
Yeah, we had a really interesting talk with Dereck, actually.
It was a very good talk. And one of the things that I asked Dereck at that time was, does he even go back and actually study his fights? Because when you are a craftsman or... You're working to become a master in what you do. One of the things that's important to do is to be able to look at yourself, do a self-examination and a self-analysis. And so I asked Dereck, do you go back and look at your own boxing matches? Or even do you look at yourself training? And one of the things that he said to me at that time was no.
That was quite shocking for me too, because he was on the verge of... In fact, it was confirmed that Dereck was going to be fighting Vitaly Klitschko. So that will tell you when we met Dereck Chisora.
Wow.
So he was preparing, and I said, I remember going up to him and saying to Dereck, Dereck, you know what WBC stands for? And he said, what? I went, Will be Chisora. And he laughed.
Well, he did.
Yeah.
But now that's the fight that we saw, where I saw as well too.
What, the Vitaly Klitschko fight?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. When Dereck did that fight, I really have to give him a lot of love and respect for that, because I felt that when he came into the ring, he was prepared and he really looked good. He looked like he was focused mentally. He looked like he had been preparing physically. And so he gained my respect as a fighter in that particular fight. Of course, it's another story moving forward. Did you want to say anything else?
Yeah, we want to talk now. Obviously, we're on the Parla fight, and I said in my pre-fight prediction, I was concerned about the amount of punches Dereck Chisora could take in this fight. And although I said Parla was a punching bag, and I expected Dereck to back him up, get him against the ropes, and put pressure on him, which he eventually did. Shocking for me, Dereck Chisora did not use a jab coming in. He came forward in straight lines, and was just taking punches. And at one point, he looked, again, badly stunned. Now, I keep seeing Dereck getting stunned in fights. It seems a reoccurrence. Probably, we saw it in the Helenius fight. We saw it in the Sam Sexton fight. We've seen it in the... Well, we saw it... He got knocked out by David Haye. And the Gerber fight was worrying. And for me, now this fight with Parla... I've said, when Dereck Chisora fights guys his own height, his style doesn't lend or doesn't blend. It blends to a good fight, but it doesn't blend for Dereck's, benefit. His style is against guys that are taller, that hit the top of his head. So when he's bobbing and weaving, they hit the top of his head. Dereck, now, when he comes in with that style, how can you ever start bobbing it and weaving and doing this and still getting hit with left hooks and right hands? At this stage of Dereck's career, you would think by now Dereck would be able to bob and weave and get himself in and out of problems, move his head. But he's bobbing and getting caught with punches. So, I mean, from the Gerber fight to this fight, one of my concerns, I keep saying about concerns, is Dereck's lost a lot of weight. Now, Atia's got a different view.
I do.
I'll get onto it in a minute. But if you lose the weight that Dereck's losing, does that compromise your punch resistance? One, because I don't think Dereck Chisora's chin is anywhere. Yeah, it doesn't seem the same. His punch resistance doesn't seem the same, and you know, God forbid, he's fighting someone like David Price and he gets hit on the chin like that. The fight is over. The fight is over. I mean, he's getting caught, like I said. But then David Price is taller, so the dimensions are different, height and reach, and you think he'd stand a better chance there. But Dereck's getting caught way too often. And as I said before, when Dereck fights on the outside, he has these moments where he just stands and looks at the opponent and does nothing. When he stands and looks at the opponent and does nothing, that's where he seems to tag him. That's how Gerber's hit him, and that's how Parler hit him. Now, if Gerber and Parler are landing punches like that, and they're not world-rated fighters, now we're talking top 10 now, you've got to ask yourself the question, what does he do with somebody who has that sort of power? That can put you away one shot. And it's a jolly good job that Parler and Gerber were really one-punch knockout artists at world level. Because if Parler was a real one-punch knockout artist, the fight could have been stopped in the first round. Bear in mind the left hook he took in the first round. So there's a lot of work to do for Don Charles. Shout out to Don Charles, by the way. Don, hope you're well. Enough respect to you. I'm sure you saw the fight and probably weren't impressed with the way Dereck went about things. He says that he wasn't interested, but you know, at this stage of Dereck's career, he has to be on the money. You know, Atia?
You know, I'm gonna say this, and I know some of you all know this, and I know you do because we talked about this. You know, the little red man and the little green man, the little boxing man, and you play the game, and you would be on one side, I'll be on the other, and you play it. Okay. And he was talking about how Dereck was getting hit upside the head. That's exactly what it looked like. And I kept hearing Ingram talk about the weight that Dereck Chisora lost. But I was kind of like agreeing with the announcer because the announcer was, you know, he was doing his talking. And he
Barry
said,
Jones and John Rawling, for those,
Okay, well, I don't know their name, but they were saying that Dereck promised to take Parler out early. Well, he actually did take him out in the third round. And, you know, that was a good thing. But as Ingram was talking about how much weight Dereck Chisora lost, I'm looking at it and I think he looked like a chunky man. And this is no disrespect to Chisora, but he looked sluggish. And, you know, as the announcers were talking about how here you have a boxing match with no jab, which I thought was very funny because I was thinking the same thing. And I told Ingram, I said, you know what? This isn't boxing. I said, this is a wrestling match because that's how I felt. I felt like I was watching two old men in the ring boxing. And the way Dereck was dancing around the ring, I was saying to myself, this is not Dancing with the Stars. This is a boxing match.
It was a wrestling match. It wasn't as bad as Klitschko and Povetkin, but the wrestling, well, I want to impress that. I've got to say the stoppage was a strange one as well. Parler looking out of the ring. I don't know if he was trying to wave to somebody in the audience. His head was like face this way. It was the wrong time to do.
That might have been when he got clobbered and went down.
I don't know if he was trying to do a presidential wave like, hi, I'm about to get knocked out here. And I was worrying that punch that Dereck threw at the back of his head could have caused injury. But, you know, that was really worrying. Yes, the referee was right to stop the fight there. I don't know what Parler was doing, facing. In fact, I've never seen anyone get stopped like that. I've never seen in boxing career or watching boxing, seen a guy head facing this way out of the ring and sort of looking at the audience and get hit the back of the head. I mean, you know, it's another one of these funny stoppages. Up to that point, the Parler was well in that fight, which again, worrying. Dereck Chisora, yes, he's got the win. Fair play, and yeah, maybe he's coming to Christmas and people are, Dereck just wants to, you know, kind of chill and get the fight out of the way. And yes, there were two other fighters who was meant to fight beforehand and they pulled out. So, you know, the substitution and the change of opponent may have been a problem, but still, the gaps in his defense, the walking forward without any game plan, the no jab, the lack of head movement, these things are all things that are concerning if you're really looking to fight at the top level.
Well, that's what I really want to talk about. You know, I noticed as Dereck came into the ring and he went to the corner, he got down on his knee and he said a prayer. I had a lot of respect for that because, you know, he came in and he appeared that he wanted to start the whole fight in the right frame of mind. But starting the fight or fighting doesn't start with actually doing the fight. You have to prepare for the fight. And this is one of the issues, excuse me, that I have with Dereck Chisora. First of all, you can't expect to get in the ring and perform at your best when you haven't prepared, because it's not just about winning. It's about developing yourself in your craft to be a champion in and out of the ring. And it takes discipline. You have to get into the gym. You have to train. You have to train effectively and strategically. And in that preparation part, you have to be willing to study yourself and examine where your areas of weaknesses are. Do a self-analysis and look at the gaps in your own craft that you're doing in your own presentation, and then work to tighten that up. And then you also have to study your opponent. Before you get into any fight, you have to study your opponent. You have to see what it is that you need to bring to not just win it, but to win it with class. I mean, he has the potential to be a world-class champion, but it's going to take some work, and you got to be willing to get in there and do the work.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, a lot of talk of people pushing for this Tyson Fury return fight. No disrespect to Dereck, but I think Tyson Fury has come on a way since the first fight. I think, you know, Tyson now has got Peter Fury in his corner, and that's been a significant change for Tyson in terms of his development as a fighter and being far more professional in his approach. So not much has changed with Dereck Chisora, to be honest. To be honest, it hasn't. He's lost some weight. He's focused, but he's getting hit with a whole lot of punches. And again, before I was like, yeah, if Dereck fights David Price, he'll slip inside and he'll take Price out. Not so sure now. Yeah. Because because even if you even look at the Helenius fight, Dereck was on the outside and Helenius tagged him, and there's no way that Price hits a lot harder than Helenius. You know, I know they're talking about potentially a Wilder fight as well. I'm not so sure. Dereck is a good fighter, but I think technically there's some things he needs to work on and need to address before he's really looking for that big world title fight. Or even, I mean, if he's going to fight a Klitschko, then, you know, Vladimir, if he's going to hit him on the chin, he's going to have to be careful the right hand's coming in. And he needs to be able to bob and weave, get inside quickly and do his work. And I want to go back to the David Haye fight for 1 second.
Before you do that, can I say this, honey?
Okay.
Because you made a very valid point. There's some things that he needs to work on technically, but his technical presentation is really based on where he is mentally. And I think that you would see a change in his technical growth and his technical ability when he addresses some other issues. His attitude towards his training. There's some other things. You can't become a master at what you're doing. And one of the things really quickly that I question as I watch him fight, and I've watched the last few fights that he's done, I question, does he even really want to be fighting?
I was going to go back to David Haye fight. I think since the David Haye fight, there's something missing in Dereck Chisora. And I can't quite put my finger on it yet. But when I do, I'll let you know. But there's definitely something missing in Dereck Chisora. Yes, he seems this reformed guy and this, he's dedicated to boxing as a sense. Because, before he probably wasn't as dedicated as he is now, lost the weight. On the outside, would look that way. But internally, I'm not so sure. And it just seems that once a guy starts hitting Dereck Chisora back hard, he doesn't seem the same fighter. I'm not sure if Dereck Chisora's an on-top fighter or not. Because Parla was hitting him with some shots. And I wasn't feeling so confident inside with that fight. And that's Parla, who I thought was a punching bag again. So Dereck made hard work of it. Again, let's take into consideration that the two guys that he was meant to fight pulled out. And let's just say he got through. It was a bad night for Dereck, and let's just push on for that. But for future fights, Dereck, get behind that jab, my friend, and just be aware of the other guy that's throwing punches back at you, because not everybody is going to let you just walk in and throw your bombs, and it's good to see that you're knocking guys over and dropping guys and hurting guys, and it's a good run, and you're picking belts up the way, which is fantastic. It's brilliant for your career. But longevity,
Right.
and to be a champion that's going to last a while.
Yeah.
You know, are you going to cut it at the top level, and you need to go back in the gym and address these matters, and it's a recurring matter here that I'm sort of concerned about.
But also, just to add to that real quickly, is, perhaps you need to look at his training team, and maybe there needs to be another fixture on his training team that will address some areas that maybe his current training team are not able to address.
Don't know. Don Charles is a good trainer.
He's an excellent trainer, and I think he's a nice guy, but that still does not negate the fact that there might be a missing component on the team.
Yeah, but that might not be Don Charles or his training camp. It could just be a fact that it just might be where Dereck is. I don't know. I don't know. We don't know.
Something to explore.
However, congratulations, Dereck Chisora. Still European champion, still WBO. I think it's international champion, and now WBA international champion as well. So kudos to Dereck Chisora, and shout out to Dereck Chisora's team, strength and conditioning coach, and Don Charles. So Merry Christmas, Team Chisora.
And I'll do this.
Yes, absolutely.
Before you get a round of applause, you got to come on, man. You can do it, Dereck. You can do it.
And we're looking forward to Dereck Chisora in 2014.
Yes.
On his march towards the world title.
That's right. That's right.
Anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, that's it. We sending lots of love to you, Dereck Chisora. You can do it. You can do it. So just keep your head up and keep working.
Okay, this is Ingram and Atia talking about Dereck Chisora and Ondrej Parla. Post-fight review. We're out. Thanks for watching.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.